great temperature over here. It's hot yesterday. Dude, this summer was brutal. Dude, we hit 100.
Wait, where are you? Where are you? Where are
Salt
you?
Lake. Salt Lake.
Salt Lake. Oh man. All
It
right.
hit 109, I believe it was. Yeah,
Damn.
It was a hot one here yesterday. Yeah, I stayed inside all day.
Oh, me too. All right, guys. So as more of you guys are joining in about 2 minutes, I guess we'll go full force into it. But for now, Joe and Kizmo, can you guys introduce yourselves to the audience, please?
Sure. I guess I'll go
Alright.
first. My name is Michael. I'm also known as KizmoTek, and I created War Tycoon about 5 years ago and have been developing the live ops since then. We're partnered with GameFam, and have been releasing updates every 2 to 3 weeks.
Of course.
We are currently working on a new title called War Rivals, and we're about to hit open alpha this Monday, so that's super exciting. I was just at Roblox HQ last week, working with them on the game.
Heck yeah. I did hear about that, the new announcement for the game you guys are working on. How's that been going?
It's been going great. We've been developing that game for about 3 months. We're going into our 4th month of development. So we're trying to get it out by next month, but you know how development goes. There's always delays and things that got to be worked on.
Yeah, I mean, that's really game dev for you. You're going to have all these delays, especially on these big projects. I mean, you guys are working on some of the bigger projects in the whole scope of Roblox, so it's still great to see that you guys are persevering through it and still launching new stuff. And I mean, I followed your guys' work for 4 years now, and I haven't seen a break in any of the executions, so congrats to you guys, and I hope the new game does really well for you guys. And I know you guys are also testing the new gun system.
Can we get a preview? Can we get a preview of it on the
Yeah,
stream?
can we get a preview?
I'm putting you on the spot.
Okay,
Feel free to say
okay.
no. Feel free to say no.
Yes,
Hey,
you
Kizmo.
can't get a
feel free to say
preview.
no,
The
bud.
game is
Yeah,
playable.
I'm just asking. You can say no. Okay?
No, the game is playable, so I could definitely show a bit of a preview.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I mean, because
Yeah.
I was there for the origin of this game.
Yes.
When I was still at GameFam. So, and this was a game that I was not in favor of. This is an interesting story. Kizmo proposed this game. I believe him. I don't remember this, but I believe you 100%. This sounds like something I would do. Kizmo proposed the game, and I said, no, it's a bad idea. You need to focus on War Tycoon. But then the shooter market changed. And, Rivals became so big, and then Hypershot was big. And then I saw some of these little shooters starting to come up, like Sniper, One Shot Arena, whatever. It's like, it's got like 20,000 people playing. I was like,
Yeah, a lot of
I
them.
was like, you know what? So then I proposed the project back to Kizmo, and he was like, Joe, I proposed that project to you like a few months ago, and you said no. And I felt like a little silly, but I said, I think you should do it. And I think that, but I think it's a good lesson, because I love being wrong. I got no problem being wrong. And I think if you're going to be successful in life, generally speaking, you need to be very open to being wrong, especially on Roblox, where it's just a lot of changes all the time, right? Roblox is just this ever-evolving, kind of chaotic environment sometimes, where you need to follow what's happening now, and you need to follow it as quickly as you can, because tomorrow things could change again. And so things changed, and things changed, and there's nothing wrong with saying, hey, the other day I thought this, but things have changed, and now I can see that when I thought that the other day, it was incorrect, and maybe you were behind. In this case, Kizmo was ahead of me. He saw something that I didn't, and there's nothing, that's great. I think it's great, and I'm very excited about the project, even though I'm not involved with it. I'm very excited. I'm working with Kizmo on a few other things, actually, that we can't talk about yet, but we can talk about hopefully soon enough.
Yes.
Ooh,
Joe, I forgive you.
Yeah. I mean, dude, the Roblox development scene has changed so much in the past, even the past just 2 years, that even predictions are just going to be completely wrong, and we don't know what's going to happen. I mean, we had brain rots come around last year and sweep the whole platform. We've had squishy dumplings, table games, the new shooters we were talking about. I mean, there's like 3 of those mini shooters that are at like 10k CCU on average. I mean, it's completely completely different than it was 2 years ago. It's super wild. So,
well, I think
I'm
it's really
definitely
interesting.
intrigued.
The shooter genre is really interesting, and it's a genre that I am jealous actually that Kizmo is getting into, because I've been wanting to get into the shooter genre on Roblox for a while, because I think it really, well, it's a game. First of all, it's a game I enjoy playing. I'm not like, guys, I'll be honest, I am not good at shooters, but like whatever. If I go play on whatever, if I go play Rivals, I'll get kills. Okay, I'm not good. I'm not going to carry. I'll tell you that, but I will get kills, and I like it. It's fun. I can sit there. I can burn half hour, 45 minutes easily playing Roblox while playing a shooter. I don't know about you guys. I cannot very easily burn 30 or 45 minutes playing, a brain rot game on Roblox. I'm a full grown adult human. I need a little more depth of stimulation than that. I can play it for 10 minutes with a friend and have a great time, but it's not something I want to play necessarily every day, where a shooter is. So I want to work on games that I like. Of course I do, right? I think we all would prefer to work on games we truly like. Now, if I may say, working on games for income is a great privilege, even if it's a crappy game that you hate. Last night I went to go see a talk. I'm gonna soliloquize here for a minute because we got 90 minutes to kill, so I'm gonna talk for a minute here.
Heck yeah.
Last night I went to go see a talk. Okay, I went to go see a talk in Los Angeles. Frank Miller. If you don't know who Frank Miller is, I'll tell you quickly, but also look the guy up. He's a legend in the history of film and comic books and nerd culture. He wrote, he wrote Sin City. He wrote and drew Sin City. He wrote and drew The Dark Knight Returns, which is a lot of people think the greatest comic book ever written. I think it has a strong claim there. I would probably support the case for Dark Knight as the best comic book of all time from a both visual and story standpoint. Combined, I think that if you've ever seen me on camera, you guys know I got a lot of comic books on my bookshelf. He also wrote, I know I'm forgetting a big one here, Sin City, and he wrote 300. Okay, so those are kind of his big hits. Ronin is great as well. If you've never read Ronin, it's a real work of art. I highly recommend it. My point is that I went to go see him talk, and who's interviewing him at the talk? Zack Snyder. If you don't know who Zack Snyder is, let me quickly tell you so you can follow the story. Zack Snyder is a very famous Hollywood director, okay?
Yes.
Now, is he a good director? I'll leave that for you guys to choose on your own, but he directed 300. Which is pretty fantastic, to be fair. He directed
100%.
Watchmen. He directed Batman versus Superman. He directed Justice League, I'm pretty sure. I mean, this guy is a heavy hitter. The point of my story is he's talking to Frank. He's a huge Frank Miller fan. He's been reading Frank Miller his entire life since he was in high school. He's older. He's older than me. He's quite, he's probably in his 50s. And he says, yeah, he's like, working on Watchmen. Yeah, it was great. Like, Watchmen's fine, whatever. But, working on 300, like, that was the thing that, like, and it's okay. So I'm saying, like, even Zack Snyder, who's by any measure an extremely successful Hollywood director, some things he's going to like working on more than others. That's normal. To come full circle on this, I want to work on some shooter games. I'm jealous that Kizmo is making a shooter right now because I think it's a great genre. I think it suits my strengths in terms of live ops, pipeline, and event design, and just overall gameplay and depth of gameplay. And I think the genre has exploded because of Rivals, and now people want more shooters to play. And I think it's a great genre where a lot of, frankly, pretty simplistic products are finding huge audiences, and that is an exciting thing to see. So if you guys want to make a shooter, somebody hit me up, okay? I want to work on a shooter. I want to make a shooter. I want to be in that genre, and I'm not.
Yeah, personally, I never liked working on games that I wouldn't play myself, because then I wouldn't know how to make it well and fun. So that's why I decided to stick to what I'm good at, which is shooter games.
Yeah,
100%.
but there's who does who is above like 14 years old can sit there and like play a brain rot game for more than like 15 minutes. Like, if you can, that's great. I just am like skeptical. I'm skeptical.
No, it was pretty funny. At the Roblox HQ, there was other like Roblox developers there, and there were some that worked on brain rot games, and they were just complaining that it sucks to work there. They'll be like in a professional meeting, and then someone will be like, "Oh, did you import the 6.9 or whatever, or 6-7. Sorry.
6-7, 6
Yeah,
7.
it's something else.
That's the new one.
Oh.
That'll be the new cool brain rot. Yeah, I
Yeah.
love it.
Yes.
Cool.
So Joe, I mean,
Games, and they were just complaining that it sucks to work there.
Oh.
They'll be like in a professional meeting, and then someone will be like, "Oh, did you import the 6-9 or whatever, or 6-7? Sorry."
6-7, 6
Yeah.
7.
It's something else.
That's the new one.
Oh.
That'll be the new cool brain rot. Yeah, I love it.
Yes.
Cool.
So Joe, I mean, we just had to talk about you trying to get into shooter games, but we all know that you worked at Game Fam. You worked on some pretty big games before now, trying to get into shooter games. So, what about your legacy? Introduce us to your backstory on game dev.
Yeah, I have had I'm like a mid-career professional, probably moving on to the back half of my career here, to be honest with you guys. I'm much older than all of you, I'm sure. And um, so I've been around. And I came to Roblox, I think, very differently than probably most of you, because I didn't start as a Roblox player. But I'll tell you the origin story. Some of you have heard it before, so I'll try to make it a little more interesting, because I don't think this is an open forum just to chat. So this is cool. This is a cool venue. I like it. So let's see. I graduated college, and I had an art direction degree from the University of Texas at Austin. I wanted to make video games or cartoons, really, was what I really wanted to do. Always, my whole life, no doubt about it. I was doing tons of cartooning, drawing, painting. I'm a musician as well. I write stories. If you've ever worked with me on creative, I hope you've had a good experience. I write pretty tight stories. I do voice acting. I love it. I'm here because I love making games, and I love making funny, silly, playful things, and making things look great, which is a skill I don't get to use as much on Roblox as I'd like to. But so yeah, I had this art direction degree, and I wanted to, but my parents, I mean, I was a young person like many of you are, and my parents said, no, don't go into film or gaming. It's not a good career. They were wrong, obviously, but my parents are relatively smart and successful people. So, and they're your parents. You always listen to your parents, like, I mean, most people do. I mean, your parents have a lot of pull, and I was very independent. Okay. Like I have a deep independent streak in me. Okay. So I don't listen to people easily, but when your parents tell you your whole life, you're never going to have a successful career if you try to go into the creative industries, you should become a lawyer or whatever. I mean, it sinks in. Anyway, I had an art direction degree. I got a job in sports licensing. So I was designing like t-shirts and posters like NFL, NBA, and it wasn't just designing them. I would design them, and then I would like make the marketing materials for them, and then I would literally sell them, and sometimes even like pack and ship them. It was a really small company. This guy lived down the street. Wonderful guy. Lived down the street from my parents. Met him through a family friend. We didn't actually know him, even though he lived on the same block as my parents. We didn't even know this guy. Anyway, so I did that for a few years. It was kind of going nowhere. Like, look, I was learning a lot. I was working with the NFL. I was working with Major League Baseball. Like, it was cool. I was selling products to Walmarts and Walgreens, and so, and I was designing things that people were buying and seeing, and that meant a lot to me. But it wasn't going anywhere, like, career-wise, and I was anxious to continue to grow and progress, as one should be. Anyway, I went back to business school at the University of Michigan. And then I got a summer internship at Disney. So I did my summer MBA internship at Disney. And then I graduated, and I didn't have a job, and I got a post MBA internship at Nintendo. So I moved to San Francisco, and I would ride my bike to the train, and I would take the train to San Mateo. I lived in the Mission, and I'd ride my bike to the train. I'd take the train from the Mission to San Mateo every day. And I worked on how can Nintendo move more of its marketing budget out of TV and into internet marketing? Like, how can they justify that from a business perspective? No, it's not all me. Am I talking too much?
I don't think you're talking
Someone
too
said
much.
it's all me.
I mean, we got 90
Postgraduate,
minutes to kill. We got 90.
postgraduate internship, and then I'm talking to Nintendo about if they can create a full-time role. Now, the thing about Nintendo, and there's so many great things about Nintendo. I mean, it's just such an exemplary company in so many ways, certainly creatively, but they treat their people really well. And if you get hired at Nintendo, like basically you can pretty much depend on like working there for the rest of your life. Like, so they're very slow to open up new jobs. So I finished this kind of project, this postgraduate project I'm doing, which was all spreadsheets all day, all numbers, right? And I am talking to them about if there's a full-time role for me. It went really well. And then my roommate, I'm living in the Mission with 3 other people in an apartment. And one of my roommates is like, hey, my friend works at Ubisoft. I'm going to submit your resume there. So they submit my resume to Ubisoft. And next thing I know, I'm going to meet with this hiring manager at Ubisoft. And they hire me to help strategize how to do more with Ubisoft IP. So eventually, I ended up working on creating Ubisoft Motion Pictures as an entity. I licensed Assassin's Creed into DC Comics. I helped get Assassin's Creed toy lines made. And I did that for a couple years. But, you know, Ubisoft is Ubisoft. And at the end of the day, I don't think it's any secret that it's a family run business by French people. And I am not part of the Guillemot family and I am not French. And so it was fairly limited in terms of where I could continue to go there, I felt like. So I got this job at Mattel. This is all leading up to how I got onto Roblox. So I got this job at Mattel in Los Angeles where I wanted to live anyway. The San Francisco's great. I really would prefer to live in Los Angeles for a variety of reasons. So I got this job in Los Angeles. So I moved to Los Angeles. Okay. So then I'm doing this great job at Mattel. Like we're trying to figure out how do you create new toy, gaming, and animation brands from scratch, as well as working on trying to revive old brands like He-Man, for example. So I actually worked a lot on He-Man. So if you've ever seen my office here, you've seen some He-Man gear around. I spent a lot of time on He-Man, which was great because I grew up on He-Man. So it was like really exciting when I got to work on that. Actually, it was like kind of a dream come true for a while. And anyway, so I did that for a few years, and then they were kind of moving in more of just, hey, let's just make toys again, as corporations do. First, they're like, let's make animation, let's make games. I'm like, no, 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 that's not working. Let's just make toys. Okay, whatever. So I'm like, I got to get out of here. I don't want to make toys. I'm not a toy maker. I'm a game maker. And um, I got a job working at a startup as as an executive on a Star Wars Rebels mobile game based on the Disney XD show Star Wars Rebels. Okay, so I did that for like a year. The game was great. It's called Star Wars Rebels Recon Missions. You can look it up on YouTube. Fantastic game. Didn't land. And I mean, it landed. It didn't land at the level Disney needs things to land, which is like an unfathomable and nearly impossible level of achievement in terms of
Yeah.
revenue from an individual game. And so that startup kind of didn't know where it was going to go next. And I just felt like, you know, I'm getting a lot of people contacting me about doing different work. So I just kind of went out and did my own thing. And I was getting hired like all over the world to do interesting things. I worked on Subway Surfers for a year. I worked with Crayola on helping them make a kids' creativity app for a while. And then Mattel hired me back. So I went back and I was the consulting executive producer on Hot Wheels. So my job, I probably have like 2 more minutes left. Okay. So thank you all for sticking with me. Okay. So my job at Mattel, this was a consulting job. So it was 2 days a week, which is just like heaven, except for there's only so much you can do career wise 2 days a week, but it was really fun. And they just said, make Hot Wheels cool in video games. That was it. That was the job. Literally, that was like the job description. Okay. So over 4 years, I put Hot Wheels along with a lot of other great people, and working on Hot Wheels is super easy, by the way. Okay. So everyone will talk to you. Everyone wants to talk about Hot Wheels. Hot Wheels is great. Everyone loves Hot Wheels. Okay. So I put Hot Wheels into Need for Speed, and I launched Hot Wheels' own mobile game called Hot Wheels Race Off. That was the #1 game on Google Play when it launched and got 100 million downloads. I put Hot Wheels into Forza for the Forza Horizon 3 Hot Wheels expansion pack, and I worked closely with Turn 10 on that project, which, oh my God, those Turn 10 guys, the Playground Studios guys, the Forza team, those guys are gods. I mean, that is just best of the best video games, uh, like everything about the Forza Horizon franchise is nearly perfect in my opinion. It's just an unbelievable quality bar that they have there. And so that was a real thrill. And then I found out about Roblox. Okay, so I found out about Roblox during that time. It came up on trend reports. I didn't know, like, I didn't have friends playing Roblox, guys. I was in my 30s. Like, I didn't have friends playing Roblox. Okay. So it came up on trend reports and I started looking into it. And I love like Adult Swim. I love alternative animation. I love indie games. I love weird anime. And Roblox was right up my alley. So I started making Roblox games. I started Game Fam in 2019, grew Game Fam for 7 years, generated over $100 million in net revenue during those years, built Roblox's biggest ad network with brand partners. By far, we built the biggest one and worked with Kizmo. And after 7 years of it, I just wanted to get back to working directly with creators and not doing administrative work and just making stuff again. And so I resigned in January from GameFam, left the company in a very strong position from a balance sheet and leadership perspective. I wish them nothing but the greatest success. And I'm so excited to be back working. There's people in this chat who I work with. I'm working with Kizmo on a few things. I'm having a great time and I love working with you guys.
Yeah. I mean, from what I hear, you're basically an Avenger. You've collected all the Infinity Stones. You have a crazy background, but I think once you get to a point where you have all the success, it is nice to come back and do something where you're just building, not even for the money sometimes, it's for the fun of it and doing something that you like to do again. And
You
I will
know,
say your experience is absolutely entirely wild. You have the experience and to grow something like Game Fam, have that experience inside the UGC field, and now be able to do a lot more with it, especially in a time where it's booming right now. I'd say we're in a UGC boom, UEFN,
absolutely.
Roblox, etc. And to be able to do what you want with it, and especially build on your previous success, it's so incredible to see. Like you, Kizmo, all the people that are making these big games, even the small cash grab games are very interesting to me, and I love to see all this work that's been put into it. And I think, especially with your experience, having that background with large companies like Mattel, Disney, all of those, it's super cool to see everybody is still expanding in the UGC field and coming from many different fields. I've seen people come from being a lawyer to the UGC field, from being a cashier. Everybody across the world is getting into UGC, and it's such a big booming market right now. And
Yeah, and I'll just to add to that, it's just it's just so great. I mean, being back working with you guys as creators, as an individual, not as the face of a company, has just been kind of a dream come true. Building Game Fam was great, and I learned so much, and I learned so much that I honestly think that I feel like I'm, for whatever it's worth, guys, I really like to feel like, knock on wood, that I am really actually in my prime right now, post Game Fam. I feel like I'm doing my best work in terms of coaching people, in terms of building product, and because I'm doing only the things I like doing now. Again, running a company is great, but it takes, you know, it's, if you love making games, running a company can eventually become a little draining because it's a lot of administrative work as well. And so I'm glad I did it. I'm glad it was successful. I wouldn't trade it for the world, but I love working with you guys, and you guys give me so much energy and so many smiles every day. So, thanks for being great people.
heck yeah. So I have a question to ask you. I think this is something that if I was so large at a company like you or the CEO of GameFam, resigning is a huge change. How did that affect um, just overall? Like, how did it affect you for that week or 2 weeks after resigning? And I'm guessing it felt like a weight being lifted off your shoulders. Running something as big as GameFam, running anything sometimes can just be tiring. So taking that weight off must have felt nice. But I just want to hear how it was for you, at least resigning from GameFam and being able to work on your own stuff now.
I think that it is being the CEO of anything, even a small company, having employees. I think having employees is a huge privilege and a huge responsibility. Treating people well is something, treating people in a values-based way is so important to me. And it's so hard because there's always stressful things that are going to happen when you run a company and you're dealing with it. When I left GameFam, we had 100 people full time. When you have 100 people, there's just so much that can go up, down, left, right, and sideways every day. Investors, business partners, and so yeah, for me, yeah, it is. I think for most people, especially if you're creative, being CEO can be a lot of stress and a lot of weight on you. So it did feel like taking some weight off. For me, the status of being a CEO, it's fun. It's fun to have people respect you. It's fun to have people ask you to speak at events around the world. Sure, that's all great, but that wasn't what drove me. And so, just the chronic responsibility of having to try to take care of people, having to try to meet the goals for investors. Of course, it's a weight off my shoulders to not be CEO anymore, but I don't think I could be the professional that I am now. And as I said, I think I'm at my best now, personally, and I don't think I could be there if I hadn't done that for 7 years. So yes, I have a lot less responsibilities and I can spend my time much more in my own way, but I had to trade, having, all of the status and being the boss and all those things. For me, it was an easy trade after 7 years though. And but absolutely not, even no regrets. So happy I did it. So grateful for the opportunity, but now happy to be moving on to the next phase.
Yeah. Um, I think a lot of people in your situation, they of course like having that status and all of that. I think that's one thing that helps drive some people. But to see that the weight gets lifted off, you get to do something nice. I mean, you had your fun with it. I mean, I guess like how people talk about like athletes in their careers, they say that it's, oh, it comes to an end, everything comes to an end, it's sad. But it's like a bittersweet, you have that sad moment where like, oh, I'm gonna miss working here, I'm gonna miss being the boss, but then you get to do something new. So definitely intriguing, and I think your story is something that I think your story, having run Game Fam for 7 years and finally doing something different. It's of course wild, crazy, big change. Making something out of it and having a good time out of it is just definitely very important to do. So Kismo, you and Joe have worked together a bunch. I mean, Game Fam, War Tycoon, KizmoTek, all of that. So especially with War Tycoon in your new game, I want to ask you a question here because I think a lot of studios could even learn from you. How are you managing your developer team to reduce burnout, to reduce inefficiency, and build a better game for your audience? That's kind of a question that I had lingering here, and I actually want to ask you that because seeing that you just announced a new game, that you're using it to test out stuff for War Tycoon and everything. How is that affecting your workflow, and how are you optimizing your workflow with your big team?
Yes, that's a always difficult thing with live ops games is how do you prevent burnout and manage all that. It's pretty hard because whenever you work on an update and you finally finish it, you're immediately working on the next thing, and then you also have to have everything planned out weeks, months in advance. So it's quite a bit of work to manage. The best thing you could do is learn from your mistakes. You're gonna plan things in your roadmap. You're gonna see that you're missing deadlines, you're having delays, this and that, and you gotta learn from that and see how you can optimize your future roadmap. So, for example, one thing that we did with War Tycoon is we have a roadmap planned and updates coming out every 2 weeks. We would set hard deadlines where we'd have the main content programmed and fully ready, whatever, several days or a week prior to the update releasing. And if it's not, then we either swap it out for some smaller update, we remove content, or we delay it by a week. That way, we're not trying to rush things and get it out incomplete, or burn out the team by making them work overtime. Um, One thing we also did for summer, because the Roblox numbers are a lot more stable and there isn't those big spikes on weekends, we swapped to doing our updates on Fridays. That way, if there are any bugs that pop up from updates, instead of telling our programmers to hop on the weekend to do things, they would just do it on the Friday instead. And that kind of helped reduce some of the stress. When it comes to managing like multiple teams, you just need good people working alongside with you. We're partnered with GameFam on the new project as well. So we got Jay, who's a very good producer from there, assisting on that project, as well as helping on a War Tycoon too. I got Kronos, who's my right-hand man, helping manage everything at KizmoTek. So it's just about being able to delegate properly and find the right people to work with.
Well, you know what, Kronos, we'll bring you up for a second. You can
He's
speak
been
about your
wanting to come up,
experience.
I think.
He doesn't want to?
Yeah, he does. He does. He can bring him up.
Yes. Okay. Say the invite to come up.
Welcome, Mr. Kronos.
I wasn't planning to talk, but hey guys.
Hey. So, Kronos, I'll ask you one question. I'll make it short and sweet here for you. How is your experience at least at War Tycoon and being, I guess you could say, KizmoTek's right hand man in working with these teams and these different games and all of these different projects that you have to manage. How is it for you at least? Because I know you're the business and growth. You're the director of that, so you definitely handle a lot of that stuff, especially keeping it alive, keeping it going strong. So, what is your experience like? Could you also give like, any tips to people that would be in the same like role as you?
So as Kismo mentioned himself, like again, I don't know if you mentioned this earlier in this talk, but delegation is a very important thing. Trying to do everything yourself is doesn't always end well. Gaining like people gaining your trust and then you slowly giving them more work. It goes for me too. I have the overarching picture of how War Tycoon should be going, where Rivals should be going, and other projects should be going. But then on each team, like on War Tycoon, we have an amazing producer, Sean, and our lead technical lead, Joe, which carry the team, make sure that the day-to-day operations are going well. On War Rivals, Jay Sobel, as Gizmo mentioned, and Dylan, which is another producer on that project, dealing with the day-to-day projects and being able to trust those people and them understanding your vision and you being able to display that vision, explain that vision in words and not coming and saying, "Oh, I don't like it. Why don't you like it?" I don't know. I just don't like it. Being able to verbalize your opinion, your vision, that's a one good thing. Another thing is when you're in the background, there's so many things happening. You have to show the developers that you're listening to what they're doing and also bring them into that story of like, hey, this is our plan with our rivals. We want to reach this milestone by this date. What do you guys think? And bringing them into the what's it called ownership of that project. That takes away them only thinking that they're just there to do the job and get the work done. I'm more of like, hey, I have an ownership in this. Now, instead of me working, I don't know, let's say 8 hours, 6 hours of that being productive, I'm going to work 9 hours and 8 hours of that is going to be productive. That's going to boost their productivity too. I don't know if that answered the question there.
Oh,
Exactly. Yeah.
definitely did. I mean, you guys work with a big workflow with a big team, so definitely
Yeah,
hearing
I
your
think
guys' own ways to do it is pretty. I guess it helps out every creator because every creator has their own way of managing something, right? But giving your own experience and giving your own tips, it helps out anyone. I mean, everybody's working on something different. No one project is completely the same. Everything's unique in one way. People are completely different how they manage things. So, hearing different sides of a coin, hearing the entire story from everybody, and seeing everybody's differences and working in something where you can still provide the same quality. My mic is fading. That is Discord. That is literally Discord. Give me a minute. I know I gotta fix my mic, guys. I'm sorry. Discord just keeps breaking. Um, but with that, I want to say thank you for providing all of that you said because
Of
all these
course.
um, different opinions on how to manage something, these different ways to optimize your workflow. It helps out anybody. I mean, everybody's gonna do it differently, but giving your own tips helps out everybody. So thank you. Okay, guys.
oh,
Does
I think your
everybody hear me now?
microphone cut off.
Okay. Let's see. Sorry about this. My mic loves to work. All right, can you guys hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, sorry. Something bumped my gain. My mic is fine. It's just I kind of bumped the gain. We don't talk about that. All right. So I'll talk about another thing here. This is a really interesting question I have for you guys. I guess you could say it's out of norm for an event like this, but I think everybody has seen the gifts that have been put in chat. I think everybody has. Joe, I think out of all people you would know. I want to ask your opinions for especially where we have all these gifts. I think we can also say that Matthew has been gifted a lot, head of Indigo. Joe, you have been a lot from all the game tanks, not game tanks, tank talks. I just want to hear your opinion on that. Someone asked me to tell you about that earlier, and I really want to know what you guys think about that.
I think getting gift is, it's fun. I mean, if you're gonna be on the internet, you're gonna get gift, right? And
Mhm.
so I think that it's I think that it's kind of it's kind of like cool. Like I like it. It's funny. It's hilarious. I send them like to my wife and she thinks they're absolutely hilarious. And I love to see what the people come up with.
Mhm.
And I think that the ones that I think are, I think when it's done in good fun, what can you say? It's part of the internet. And I love the internet. I'm an internet professional. So, gif away as far as I'm concerned.
Mhm. Okay, hold up, Gizmo.
Oh, I don't have gift farms. You
Hold on,
ruined it.
hold on.
You ruined it.
Hold up, give the stage perms give perms real quick. Give me a second. We gotta see some of these beautiful gifts.
I was gonna post the thing that you posted,
Let's
but
see.
you ruined it.
Embed links. Yeah, I just copied the link for you.
Oh,
So
okay.
there's another question I have for both of you guys. I mean, both of you guys have definitely worked on this before, and I know it's something a lot of creators struggle with. How do you guys scale your games? I mean, it's a really simple question, but from scaling it from being a small project that you might just work on the side to being a big project that becomes mainstream and what you're going to be known for, how are you going about that? To, of course, like I was asking earlier how to remove burnout from the question, but how would you go about that on making a game worth it and the risk to actually build that game? How would you guys manage that risk? There's a lot of risk that you have to take with games, investing your money in this, investing your time. How do you guys pick and choose what you want to work on, and how do you guys minimize the risk?
Yeah, I mean,
Well, go ahead.
I
Go
don't know
ahead,
if you want
Kismo.
to go
Please go ahead.
first. Okay.
No, go. Go, bud.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, for me, I like to work on projects that I would play. I think it just makes it easier to know how to make the game fun and how to design a project because I would, enjoy playing it. So I start off with that, and that's kind of how I started War Tycoon. Is I used to play a lot of Tycoon games back when I was younger, and I like playing Tycoon games that had those like sword combats or like random weapons and stuff. But I also like shooter games, and there was no Tycoon game that incorporated military vehicles and guns with that system. So that's kind of the idea I got, and that's how War Tycoon started. Just creating a game that I would enjoy playing that didn't quite exist on Roblox yet. Um, and it's a little bit different now because I have a full studio with employees working on projects. Back then, I started War Tycoon myself, so I had no expenses, no risk. It was just me. But now with War Rivals, one thing we did to mitigate risks is kind of set hard deadlines and try to prevent the project from being delayed and taking too long to get developed. So there's a lot of things that we fast tracked. As I'm sure you guys are aware, sometimes you'll work on a project and it'll just take months and months longer than you wanted to, which can add on cost and can make that game just like not be a game that people would play because it came out so late. Uh, you also have to just account for algorithm metrics. So once you do release the game, you gotta pay really close attention to the metrics, the acquisition, the retention, and you gotta make changes and optimize things in order to improve those metrics. That way, it'll actually get players on the algorithm.
Mhm. Another question I have for you. This is another question I have for especially people like you running a studio or a really large game. And I think it's something that a lot of creators might have issue with, especially for artists in this case. How do you commission people? Okay, I know that sounds like a simple question, but avoiding the risk and finding people that are reputable, how are you going about commissioning people, especially for something like like a big project that you're working on or whatnot? And I don't even know if you guys do commission people at War Tycoon anymore. I don't know if you guys just have a full team for everything, but if you guys are still commissioning people or you have any experience with it, how did you commission people? What was your process behind it?
Yeah, so it's a mix. We do commission some people, and then we also have people that are full time. Majority is just full time staff. But for the people we commission, I'll give credit to Kronos. He's the one that goes out, does all the vetting and finding people. But my experience prior to working with Kronos, when I was first starting out, and I commissioned my first developer, I just took it pretty logically. I gave him a simple, small task. If he did it well, then I'd give him a little bit of a bigger task. If he did that well, and kind of progress onwards. So I wouldn't just commission a person and throw a big, complicated task at him right away because I have no idea if this person can do what I want and do it well. I think it's important to start off small.
Yeah, Joe, do you? I mean, do you have anything to say about that?
I think that I do. Hiring is the key to scaling a Roblox business. So whether you're trying to make a game and you need partners to make the game with you, or whether you have a game that's up and running and you need to build out the team so you can ship more content, or whether you want to scale into being a full business publisher from a one game studio into a multi game studio, and you need to basically set up a team to kind of run somewhat independently and report up to you, which is kind of where Kizmo's at actually in his building of KizmoTek right now, is that hopefully War Rivals lands. I hope it's absolutely massive. And I hope that you have to juggle two teams because that'll be a great learning and growth opportunity and, part of your journey into building the studio you want, your dream studio. So I think that hiring is a moving target for everybody. I mean, there's nobody in the world who has figured out how to hire well. And the fact is, you cannot know what it's going to be like to work with someone until you do it. And so you can ask people a million questions, you can look at their portfolio, you can check their references. You still just don't know, especially the way we work here on Roblox, right? Where we're on the internet with each other on DMs. We don't even know each other. We've never even met each other. Half of us have never even heard each other talk. And you're hiring someone and paying them. I think Kismo and Kronos, have the right point of view, which is you've got to start small and build trust and see how people work. That's the whole point. And I actually think that the way the world is moving from a business standpoint, the way we run all of our businesses here on Roblox is really superior to what corporate does. And corporate is fine and and we're all beholden to our corporate overlords no matter what as consumers. There's no way, right? We're on Discord right now. We're using Google Drive every day. We're using Roblox to develop. And these are all corporations and they all run like corporations. But I think that the way that we do things at the indie level makes a ton of sense on its face, where you say, hey, I don't know you. Here's an assignment. I'm a credible person. Kismo's a credible person, right? I will pay you whatever. X hundreds of dollars to create some assets, X hundred of dollars to show me a prototype, whatever, X hundreds, X thousands, whatever the right and fair price is to do that. When you deliver it, you'll get paid. Do they deliver? Do they respond in DMs? I mean, non-responsiveness is something that I have very low tolerance for. If you've ever worked with me, you guys know that if I'm awake, I'm pretty responsive. I was just talking to my wife about this. I'm like, I think I have a compulsive disorder where like I cannot leave DMs like unresponded to. It's really hard for me. Like, sure, like if I'm busy, if I'm at a movie, if I'm asleep, I sleep, and everyone should sleep. Sleeping is important. But are they responsive? First of all, and is it someone who has a good rapport? Do they speak well by DMs? I mean, you can tell a lot about a person. If people are responsive and articulate in DMs, that's a good sign, but it doesn't mean they're going to be a good person. Unfortunately, there's a lot of shady people in this business we got a little bit of a Mos Eisley cantina of rogues out here in this business. There's some really good people, and there's a lot of really bad people too. And you run into them. You run into people who are not going to deliver. Now, sometimes it's innocent. Sometimes people just don't have the skills and they're young and they want to be a coder or they want to be a 3D modeler, but that's not what they're going to end up doing with their lives. They don't, it's not what you're actually meant to do, but you're trying it. And so you might not be able to deliver. That's fine. That's one thing. Then there's people who are just outright trying to scam and just trying to get as many commissions as they can and collect as much money as they can up front, and they'll deliver when they can. And maybe they're not even bad people. Maybe they're just totally unrealistic, but that's not your problem as an employer. Your problem is you got to take care of your project. You've got to take care of the people who work for you who are good and who are delivering. So I agree. The best thing you can do is start with people as contractors on a milestone basis, pay on delivery, see if they deliver, and be a good partner back to them. I've paid people for work I wasn't going to use so many times because I never want people to say, hey, this guy might not pay, and so I think that being a good employer, being a good business partner back is important. How you conduct yourself is all you can really control at the end of the day. And so you should always try to conduct yourself with the highest levels of integrity and take the high road every chance you get.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah, I agree. I with
there's
like,
countless time. Oh, I'm sorry. You can go, Gizmo.
and I was gonna say I agree. Like, you never want to work with somebody and then just not pay them because you don't end up using their work. That would definitely ruin your reputation.
Yeah, a good way to get a DWC report on you. I mean, I know countless times where even when I was like being a medieval surf and doing GFX, there's many times where they didn't use my work but still paid me. And I mean, I think that's also just a really kind gesture, even if you aren't going to use it. I mean, of course, I feel like it should be required. Of course, you're commissioning them and you already agreed to their prices, but still just respectful that you still do that, even if you aren't going to use it. And I mean, even if I commission people, I give feedback. Like if it's something I know something about, I'll give some feedback. I'll help them out, right? But I think commissions are. I mean, if we're in the Roblox field, right? Of course, it's going to be a little bit rough. I mean, there's a lot of people going around that are bad actors, bad apples, trying to scam you out of your stuff, take your money, take your work, whatnot. So being careful, but still having the trust in people is a good balance. I mean, don't trust people with your life, but going out there on a limb and maybe risking 10, $20 for someone, of course you might lose that, but I feel like if you have the basic trust in people and you can find a lot about someone by asking about them, asking how they do their work, maybe even asking to see some of the process. And I feel like that's the
But I
best way
think,
to cover your risk for
but
that.
also you've got to take people at face value. And I'll tell you what I mean by this. And I feel like Kismo is going to agree with this. If somebody shows you that they're unreliable, they're going to be unreliable. Like red flags early on in a relationship should be taken very seriously. And you should assume if somebody fails to deliver, if somebody goes dark, going dark kills me. People, are working for you and then they just don't respond to DMs for 2 days. And you're like, hey, are you there? Are you there? And then 2 days they're like, oh, sorry, I had some real world stuff going on. You're like, look, if someone's got a family emergency or a serious illness, I get it. Okay. Don't respond to your DMs 100%. Okay. But like, if you're needing just some downtime, just send a simple note and say, hey, I am taking a little mental health break. If you could give me a day or two, I'll get back to you soon. It's all you got to do. And if you can't do that, you have to ask, is this person ready to be a teammate? Are they ready to work with other people? That's just an example, right? That's just one example of things that I take very seriously when I see those type of behaviors. And so red flags, assume they're not going to work. Don't try to chase somebody. If someone's not delivering and they're late and they're really late, you start lining up a replacement. They're not probably going to deliver.
Yeah. I think definitely what you said, take people face value. It shows a lot about someone. And I mean, the times that I've done commissions or I've commissioned somebody before, I'd rather somebody be late on something, but be honest about what's happening. They're taking a mental health break, they need help fixing a bug, whatnot, rather than just lying about it and taking the same amount of time or even taking longer because they're lying about it, trying to come up with a good lie, right? I feel like it's better to be honest, better to be completely honest about it. Just be respectful about it and go on, right? But it's better to do that than leave somebody on it with a cliffhanger and annoying them. That's there's this guy. I'm not gonna name drop, of course. I don't think I even remember the name, but I commissioned him. Right? He didn't get the stuff done in time. I mean, he didn't get it completely in time. It was like maybe half done by the time it was supposed to be done. Right? But he DM'd me and he's like, "Hey, blah blah blah. I can't really do this right now. I'm going through something. I need some extra time." Right? So they're like, "Hey, if you can complete this by then, it's perfectly fine. Take your extra time." Right? And he did. He ended up completing it, and it was
Yeah.
really awesome that he was able to be honest with me. And I didn't feel like getting mad because he was honest with me. I see why he's taking the extra time. Yes, it definitely was annoying that I had to take longer time, but things are going to be annoying in life. You can't just
Ain't
get
that the
mad
truth?
about it, right? Yeah, it's seriously the truth. I mean, things are going to happen. You can't let one thing bring you down. I mean, it sounds corny saying that. I mean, all the speakers in the world will say, "Oh, just don't let anything bring you down. Just have confidence." Well, things happen and you just have to go through. I mean, in September, I was hospitalized for 5 days. And I couldn't do anything, and I
Oh man.
lost out on like a couple commissions, right? But I was honest with them. I just told them I couldn't do it, and guess what? They were fine. I mean, I wasn't able to complete one of them because they had to go find somebody else quicker, but it was completely fine. Nothing was made out of it, and I'm still friends with those people today, right? I still talk to them through my friends. They aren't mad at me because I had to flake on a project, right? So I think a big thing, especially commissions, doing work, even just being hired, just being respectful, honest, and truthful.
I mean, those are just good values to carry through you in every aspect of your life, and I don't see
Yes.
why you wouldn't carry those aspects with you through every, those values with you through every aspect of one's life. We all
Mhm.
know that not everybody feels that way. Look, I just finished reading The Count of Monte Cristo, and if you've never read The Count of Monte Cristo, it's arguably the best book ever. I'm saying this with a huge smile on my face because it's just so good. And everyone who's ever read it is like, oh my God, this is the best book. It's like 1,300 pages. It's just a wild ride. It was written 220 years ago, but it's just a book about human nature. It's a book about unscrupulous people, people with low values versus people with high values.
Mhm.
And I am lucky. I'm really fortunate that I was raised with really high expectations of how I was going to conduct myself. And I was role modeled both by my parents and as well as the other adults I grew up with, that pursuit of materialism, pursuit of money is not the most important thing in life. Pursuit of any passing thing that can delight you is not the most important thing in life. And I am very rooted in those values personally. It's very easy for me to adhere to those. And but the reality is, in this business and in any business,
Mhm.
you are going to find people who aren't, and you need to be ready for that. And you need to know who you are, and you need to know how you want to do things. And you need to remember that the results of your efforts are not always indicative of the rewards and the results you should have achieved because of the challenges of working with other people. And again, this is exactly what the Count of Monte Cristo is about, and it's a great story that illuminates a lot of these issues, I find.
Mhm. That's awesome. I mean, having these values, having these books, it's great. I think it's something that everybody can learn from. I'm not a big reader, but I might have to take you up on that book. It sounds great. Um, Kismo, do you have any opinions on that?
No, I think Joe worded it very well, and I'm also not a big reader, so I don't have any good books to recommend.
Well,
Yeah, I
I
don't have
think
any
that
either. So.
but I look, I've gotten to know Kismo over the years. I know that he's very close with his family, and I think, I have my own issues with my parents. Okay, don't get me wrong. All right, I did not have perfect parents, and but they were perfectly good people, I will say. And I think that if you have that, you're so lucky, and if you don't have that, it's, you've got to figure out how can you find people who can give you that sense of security and confidence so you can move through life and conduct yourself in a way that you're proud of, regardless of what outcome that necessarily gets you or not. And I want to continue to try to be a voice for that in this community, of that taking the high road and of doing business in an honorable and honest way. And I will continue to fight for that for everyone in this community. And I always say, if you are having, there's a lot of, there's a lot of shady actors here. There's a lot of bad deal making. There's a lot of taking advantage, fundamentally taking advantage of people in different ways. The other day, I was working with a developer who came to me, and he had a deal with one of the companies on Roblox. I won't say which one, obviously. And they had promised him a bunch of different things to help him grow his game as part of an investment deal. He didn't get any of those things from them. Oh, what a surprise. Okay. These people are signing up. Some of these companies are signing up trying to sign 5 deals a day. How could they deliver
Yeah.
to anybody except their absolute top performers? Just think about it. Just logically, you have a company, even if your company had thousands of people working at it, there's only so many good people and only so much time in the day to do work. All right. So it's just a
Yeah.
fundamentally, obviously false promise. And I said, show me your contract so you can try to see if the contract is it can be renegotiated or fixed to be more fair to you. And the contract didn't have any of that in there. So I said, next time, come to me, let me review a contract, but people dangle a little money and then they threaten to pull it back if you don't just sign right away. And of course, it's the anxiety and the stress response is immediate and it's powerful. And I don't do that to people. I've never time pressured anyone into signing a contract in my entire Roblox career. And I never will, because it's
Yeah.
not the way I want to do things. But the point is that, and I never offer things and then refuse to add them.
Yeah. I mean,
I never offer things that won't go into the contract. I put the things I offer into my contracts. It's just fair. It's just fair. But is it
mhm,
better for me if I would promise things verbally and then not put them into the contract? Of course. Of course it'd be
of
better
course.
for me. Sure. But it'd be better for me to walk into a bank that left the vault open and walk out with a bunch of people's money too. But I wouldn't do that either. It'd be better for me if they forget to charge me for something at a restaurant and I don't tell them that they forgot to charge me. All of those things would be better for me, from
100%.
a pure reptilian standpoint.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, the one thing that I see a lot of bickering about in the community is deal making. I know you literally just had a tank talk. Keep calling it game tank. A tank talk.
Well, it's on the Game
Where you,
Tank server. Don't worry about it.
yeah,
Don't worry.
that's right.
Okay.
It
Yeah.
is on the game tank server. You're right. And you talked about deal making. I mean, I was only able to attend for like 20 minutes, but deal making, especially in the UGC field, anywhere in life, it's crazy. Okay, people will try and short you out of something or um, deceive you, right? That's the thing a lot of people do, and that's sad, of course. But that's you have to account for that. And what you said about not time pressuring, 100%. Don't time pressure people. It's horrible. It's very ethically wrong. I think we can all agree on that. That's pretty morally wrong in a way. But deal making is such a large thing, and I'm glad that we have people like you that speak on it a lot and try and make it a more enjoyable experience per se, especially because there's a lot of bad actors, a lot of shady people trying to take a deal and warp into something that it shouldn't be, right? So yeah, I mean, you and Kizmo definitely know deals. Okay, I mean, I'm gonna keep saying that, but you guys have a lot of experience with it.
Well,
People who are running
one of the biggest
studios run deals a
lies,
lot, so
if I may jump in for a second, one of the
yeah, of
biggest
course.
lies that's being told is we'll teach you the secrets of the algorithm. And Jandal just had a great X post about this. Nobody knows any more than Jandal does about anything on Roblox. That's for sure. Okay. And, you know, I've been saying this, and it was really gratifying to hear Jandal back me up. And then Chi-Chin from Plus One Speed Keyboard Escape was on Tank Talk with me. And he is also not only has the #2 game on the platform right now, but has worked at Roblox for years. And they all agree. No one has the secrets of the algorithm. Of course, no one has the secrets of the algorithm. It's an outrageous claim. Okay. And the fact that anyone would even go out there and try to say that I mean, it's intellectual. It's not only dishonest and unfair and a deeply dishonorable and low integrity thing to go out and tell young people that you'll teach them the secrets of the algorithm, but it's intellectually offensive because it's so obviously false. But when someone with money goes and tells you, hey, I made money with the secrets of the algorithm, and I'll teach you to make money with the secrets of the algorithm, of course, people say their money sensor starts to tingle. Okay. There's another great book I read that I'll tell you about called Super Sad True Love Story. Fantastic book, very funny. And the writer, Gary Steingart, who I've been following for many years, he's a New Yorker writer. He's written many great novels. He writes from the New York Times, incredibly funny and smart guy. He had this thing about like your money tingle, like a spidey sense when money is around. And I bet you every single person on here knows what I'm talking about. Everybody has it. Ooh, I'm going to get money. Right. And so, of course, people are playing into that, and they're playing into that for what purpose? To get as much money as they possibly can in life. And there's nothing wrong with money, and there's nothing wrong with wanting money, and there's nothing wrong with having money. All of those things are perfectly fine. But do you want to get it by lying, cheating, and stealing? Is that a good way to get money? No, it's a terrible way to get money. It's fundamentally against everything that people should be for. And these lies that people are telling about live ops, about helping you with your game, about teaching the secrets of the algorithm, it's reprehensible. It's lowest common denominator behavior. It's street thug deal making, and I hate it, and I want it to stop, and I'm going to keep fighting it.
Mm-hmm. And talking about Jandal's post, I'll screen share really quickly to show if you guys didn't see Jandal's post on Twitter. So this is his post. Joe was just talking about it. Of course, nobody knows the secret algorithm, not even Jandal, right? But he knows, he has experience with the algorithm. I think we can all say that some people have experience. Nobody knows how it works, but well, no, nobody knows how it works perfectly. But having
Yeah, you
like
can
this,
have
where this
experience with the algorithm. You can help people,
and
right? You can help people.
and
Absolutely.
spreading the word that no one person will ever know what's exactly going to go on with the algorithm. Nobody knows if its game is going to do well. 100%. Nobody's 100% sure, right? Any game still has a chance to fail. And I think this post is a very, very good representation of that, especially from the largest creator on the platform. I think a lot of people will argue that he's one of the larger, if not the largest creator on the platform to date, right? So having someone like this, I'll put the link in chat really quickly for you guys. It's a very, very great post to read. I looked at this just yesterday, and it's super correct. I mean, he's really right on the fact that you don't have to sell, never sign a contract, whatever. He's giving all this experience, but of course, what he says, you'll learn more in the process than you ever will just reading his post, right? And of course, he doesn't say that exact word, but it's very inferred. You will learn more by doing it yourself and having the experience and having the memories per se of doing it than you will just reading up on something or believing a guru, right? So I think that's definitely very important that a lot of people try to keep that in mind, especially people that are go big, go getters, achievers, right? They always have this focus on the end goal, but not the process along it, process going along with it. And a lot of people think, oh, this game's gonna do well because blah 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 blah. But you always have to account for something that won't do well, and you always have to account for the algorithm, right? You can't always have something that will work perfectly because that's just not how life goes. So accounting for that and just knowing that will happen is possibly the best thing that you can do. Especially when you're a newer or even just a more experienced game dev.
Let me go a little further, because what people can reasonably do for you is look across a portfolio of games, look at metrics that are working in certain games, and say, hey, you need to work on this metric to get your game to grow. That's it.
Mhm.
And the more games you have access to, the more you're going to be able to see if you're looking at those games in an organized way versus just telling people you're going to do it too. I mean, everything requires execution. Just because you have the data doesn't even mean you're using the data. And some of these people, I think, are extremely disorganized and only interested in getting deals done and not necessarily in supporting creators. There's an intentionality challenge here. What is the intention? Okay. I know when I speak for myself and Kizmo, when we partner with people, our intention is to build relationships, to support people, to help people grow both personally professionally and financially. Okay, that is our intention. I
Mhm.
can tell you my belief is that is not the intention of a lot of people, and that's fine. Okay, it's legal. It's legal to just want to make money off of other people by telling them legal lies. Sure, it's
Yeah,
legal.
it's
Yeah.
legal, but is it the
It's
way
scummy.
you should do it? Is it the way you should do it? Is it morally right? A lot of those questions people ask. I mean, there's a whole debate every single day, like, oh, is this ethical, right? Is this legal, but isn't ethical? Is this ethical, but blah 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 blah, right? Especially with people getting arrested, right? Oh, that was not ethical, but still, it's law, right?
I mean,
And
look,
yeah, you can go and
is it
scam
legal
somebody,
to
but
cheat? Is it legal to cheat on your spouse or girlfriend or boyfriend or whatever? Yeah,
yeah, but is
it's
it
legal.
right?
It's
No.
legal. Is that how you want
I
to live
mean,
your life?
yeah,
You
you don't want to
know,
be the
some
player
people the
who's
answer is yes,
deceiving
but
everyone.
some people the answer is yes. Some people the
Hmm.
answer is yes. And my point is, for those of you for whom the answer is no, which I hope is all of you, try to avoid those people for whom the answer is yes. Try to find ways
Hmm.
to work without them and not and find other people to work with who share your values.
Hmm. That's another thing. Like, don't work with anybody, right? Work with people that you agree with. You're not gonna have a good time. You're not gonna have fun. I'm gonna say this. I guess a lot of people take it for a more business side, like, oh, this shouldn't be fun. But try to have fun in game dev. Try to have fun anywhere you're going, right? You should have a little bit of enjoyment wherever you work, right? You should try. But if you're working with someone that is not following your values and is someone you don't want to work with, why are you working with them? A lot of people, oh yeah, the money, okay, it pays good, yeah, but you're having a horrible time where you're at, and you're in a worse mental state. Why keep going with it? And of course, yeah, people need the money. I think everybody needs money sometimes, right? Gas is expensive, the economy these days, right? But you also have to take into account your own mental health, your own values, and only work with people that aren't going to make your life worse. And I think that's a good rule of thumb. It's just work where you want to work and where you feel appreciated, not where you're getting put down and ignored and in a way beaten out of where you're at, right? So do with that what you will, but that's definitely something that you guys should also take into account. And I'm not the boss of you guys. I'm not your guys' fathers. I'm not any of that. But I strongly advise that you work where you want to work, especially in these times where a lot of people are gonna take advantage of you. And that's just something that you have to deal with, right? So
Yeah, if you're having fun working, then it won't feel like work.
mhm.
Pretty simple.
I mean, one of my good buddies, he's a pilot, right? I'm actually trying to become a pilot, but he doesn't do it for the money. He literally he made something where he could live the rest of his life without working, but he works as a pilot because he likes to work as a pilot because it's fun, right? He has enjoyment in doing that, but he wouldn't choose to go out and work at a McDonald's as a cashier. That he voiced that to me. He hates that. That was his first job. He hated it. He absolutely never wants to go back, but he still wants to have fun. And if he wants to have fun by working there, and even if he didn't have the money, work somewhere where you want to actually be. Because when you're meeting new people, you're going to meet new people through jobs, and if you want to grow, you have to meet people, you have to work hard, but you don't want to diminish that work by making your mental health decline, making you hate something, right? And I guess I'm not wording this as good as I should, but just work somewhere where you want to be, do what you want to do, and eventually it'll all work out. Because hard work does more than anything. Having the will to put in as much work as you can, and the will to keep going will push you farther than anything else. And yeah, you can get lucky. Yeah, you can blah blah blah. But I feel like that's the safest route is doing something you want to do, working hard, and building on yourself.
Okay, but what about work at a McDonald's on Roblox?
Working at McDonald's on
It
Roblox.
front page or no? Front page.
Front page. If I'm getting paid minimum wage, you know what? I might have to take you up on that deal. I don't know if I'm a great cashier. Um, but I'll have to take it up. I think Jordan, he actually voiced that he wanted to take that up. So talk to Jordan. He'll be your cashier. Jordan, if you're in the chat,
I'll be the fry cook. I'll be the
be the
fry
fry
cook.
cook. You know what?
Yeah.
I'll be the janitor. You know what? I'll be the janitor. You know, I don't have to
All
deal with
right.
people. I don't have to deal
All
with
right.
people. You know, I don't have to deal with Jordan. You know, costing me $15 for a hamburger and fries, right?
McDonald's tycoon.
McDonald's
Next front
tycoon.
page hit. Yeah.
Somebody make that for
Love it.
us, you know?
Yeah, agreed. I'm in. Kids do
I'm
love
in.
McDonald's. When I was in high school, I used to eat at the McDonald's. There was a McDonald's next to my high school, and I
same
think
here.
freshman year, we went. I swear we went every day after school and had cheeseburgers at that McDonald's.
Dude, I'll tell you this:
Good times.
McDonald's
Good times.
cheeseburgers
Yeah.
are kind of underrated. Okay, I don't
I
care
haven't
what
had
anybody
one in.
says.
I haven't had one in a long time, but I definitely loved it back in the day.
Mhm. I had another question for you guys. I think we can also bring somebody up too if you guys want to have like a, I guess, discussion about it. In game dev, when finding the right people to hire, I know we already talked about commissions. What is your what? I have to word this right because it's a weird question. How do you guys run like background checks on people? I know I've been talking about you guys because you guys are basically studio owners, right? You guys have all the experience in studios, and a lot of people here want to work at a studio, want to own studios. I mean, there's a couple studio founders just in our chat right now, where there's people that are really ambitious and want to own a studio, right? How would you go about vetting someone? I mean, here at TI, we vet every member, right? We're a private server, right? So we have to do that. But when you're hiring someone, it's a little bit more complicated. You're giving them money, right? You're giving them blah blah. You're giving them blah 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 to do blah 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 blah. So how would you go about finding people, vetting them, and making sure that they won't steal your assets?
Well, you gotta see what projects they worked on prior, who they worked with. The good thing is Kronos and I have pretty good connections with other developers, so if they work with them, we typically reach out and, see how they did at their company. But the best thing you could do is just check their past work, and we always, give contracts. So we have work contracts, we have NDAs. I think it's very important to do contracts. A lot of developers in Roblox just go no contract, and then when somebody steals assets, they can't really do anything about that legally. So it's very important to set up contracts to begin with, and just check their prior work.
Yeah, I think a contract is a good is a good thing. There's a number of reasons that you should be trying to use contracts. Look, I know a lot of people don't use contracts, and I'll be honest, there's games I'm working on where I'm not using contracts either for small commissions. Um, and it's not ideal, but if you're commissioning something for $200 or whatever, like, you can kick that can down the road, because especially when you're working with a lot of people who are doing comms, super indie comms, they just don't understand contracts and they're not going to sign them, and that's just a business risk you have to live with to some extent. But I think that when you're doing bigger work, if I'm paying somebody like thousands of dollars, yeah, we're signing a contract, or I'm not going to be able to work with them. And I think that the contract, it can't stop somebody from doing those things, but it puts in their mind. And first of all, this is a bad person you're talking about, and you are going to come across them. It is going to happen. But at least it puts in their mind, hey, there could be real consequences for this. At GameFam, we had somebody get a little crazy one time and try to, basically, they had access to the game and they tried to just walk away with the game. And the payouts from the game. And it was GameFam's game. And this person had decided that it was their game because they had done the work on it while being paid and with a contract, but they decided in their mind that they should own the game, but they did not own the game. And GameFam had to enforce the contract, and GameFam was in the right and was able to rectify the situation. And it was because of that contract. Had it not been for the contract, I mean, even with a contract, things can get really messy sometimes. But work for hire contracts are pretty simple and pretty easy to enforce if you have to. So that's really the best thing you can do. But yeah, get references, ask around. But I'll tell you, I asked around about somebody the other day, and I ended up getting, somebody didn't deliver work and they insisted on upfront payment. I almost always do pay for commission with new people, but I got a reference and the reference was good. And the guy was just taking on too much work and he wasn't able to deliver. And, you know, it was a small amount of money, so I wasn't worried about it. Again, it was not a substantial amount of cash, but who likes losing cash? Not me. I mean, it's not a good way to run a business, right? That's just not good business hygiene, is losing cash and not getting work for it. So, even at this stage, sometimes you take a chance and you think it's a reasonable risk, and sometimes it doesn't work out well. So I agree, but in that case, I did get a reference. So when this guy went squirrely and stopped delivering and stopped responding, I said, geez, I really, what was I doing here? Because I hire and talk to so many people. I said, boy, why did I do this? And I went back and looked at my DMs. I said, oh my God, I did get a reference on this guy, and he ended up still being a un he still ended up being a bad partner to us, and we ate a payment to this guy. So we
Yeah.
did have a contract, by the way, and we had a contract. Actually, we had a contract. Just to be clear, okay, I did my part here. I got a reference, and I had a contract. But am I going to go enforce a contract over a few $100s? No, that's not realistic. That's ridiculous. No one's going to do that. So you just take it on the chin and you move on. This is going to happen. It's going to happen to everybody. This is business. And when you're working with new people, you're going to get people who you end up just having to write off that experience. All right. So don't take it too hard if it happens, but do the right things. Get a contract and get a reference if you can.
100%. Hire just asked, curious to hear what their take is on this. What are the red flags to watch out for when it comes to hiring full-time employees, including the trial period on the Roblox space? Them not delivering in time. I'm gonna start like them not delivering in time. Especially not having a portfolio if they're doing commissions. Um, I would even hire somebody without like an actual portfolio that they can give me. Because of course you want to see their work. I think that should be obvious. And if they're really poor with responding, like if they have poor communication and there's not like a genuine valid reason for it, that's a big red flag. If you can't get somebody to respond, they're not going to listen when you have to tell them, oh, make this for this update or fix this bug, right? So if they have poor communication, um, poor communication, I think, is the number one. I'll put that number one. If they have poor quality, so they're just not delivering quality, it's like very off, it's random, it's either going to be good or bad. It just doesn't, you don't even know when it's going to be good or bad, right? That's another big red flag. Um, I guess those are the two biggest ones. And also when they leak stuff, I mean, that's obvious. If they're going to leak stuff, why trust them, right? I guess you should just say, if they can't be trusted, or other people who have had horrible experiences with them in the recent past, that's a big red flag. Yeah. Kismet, do you have anything to add on that?
No, I think you kind of answered the question. I guess one other thing would be if they delay too long. So if they're just falling behind frequently on things, one-off instances where they have reasoning for it is fine. But if they're just constantly, not being on time, then that's a big problem.
100%. I've got a question for you, Joe.
Yes, sir.
So I've got a couple questions for you guys. So if you were to get into game dev and you're restarting right now, what is one degree you'd get just to, like, what is one degree that you think would heavily relate to game dev and help you if you're trying to get into like AAA studios or whatnot?
AAA?
Yes.
Um,
Because I know a lot of people
yeah.
here in Roblox, they want to move out of Roblox and do bigger things, right? So
Yeah, I have no. First of all, that's great. There's a lot to learn working at a bigger studio, for sure, about how games are made, and yet I do personally think Roblox is the best place to try and create long-term video game income in the video game industry right now. That's why I'm still here after resigning from GameFam. I could have easily gone and tried to pursue an executive level role at a larger studio. And let me be, I'm very honest person, and if I had any ego, believe me, that ego is long dead at this point. All right, so I'll tell you, I could get a job. I could get a good job, but they're hard to get, and it could take time. Even with my background and my resume, getting a job at my level is not going to be just like the next day. Probably I'd probably get hired to be the head of Roblox or UGC at a large studio, and I could get that job. The point is that the reason I'm not pursuing that is because I think that this is a more fun and more lucrative place to work than at a larger company right now. Even at the pay grade that I could potentially command at this stage in my career, I think I can do better on Roblox as a developer right now. So I think that if you do want to go work at a larger studio, though, and I'm only saying that to encourage you guys to stay on Roblox, right? I'm not trying to flex or anything like that. I have 20 years of professional experience. I've run a studio. You know, I'm hireable, I'd like to think. So my point is that I'm staying here because I think this is the best place to actually build a long-term career. But if you want more formal learnings, and if you want to work in a larger group, and if you want to experience what leadership looks like, or there's franchises that you love and you want to have a chance to contribute to those on a personal level, those are all really important and great reasons to pursue a career in bigger studios and in corporate games. And I think that I I this is anecdotal. I don't have data to support this because I haven't looked into this. This isn't an area of expertise. I think that good producers are really, really hard to find. People who can own the responsibility of moving things from A to B to C to D, and who can work across multiple disciplines. I think that's something AI is not going to be able to do well. And, you know, so I would focus on that as your key differentiator is being able to produce and deliver and ship content. But again, this isn't scientific. I would say art, we all know AI is going to be doing more and more of the art. That's just reality. Will there still be a need for artists and 3D artists? Yes, absolutely. But are the major corporate studios trying to use AI to create as much as they can? Probably. Is program you know, so I would focus on that as your key differentiator is being able to produce and deliver and ship content. But again, this isn't scientific. I would say art, we all know AI is going to be doing more and more of the art. That's just reality. Will there still be a need for artists and 3D artists? Yes, absolutely. But are the major corporate studios trying to use AI to create as much as they can? Probably. Is programming going to be still needed? Absolutely. But programming is going to also be more and more AI driven over the coming years. You would think, it looks that way. That's the way things are shaping up. So if I look, what is the skill that can give you the most long term career mobility? At this point, I do think, again, this is a total opinion. I think it might be producing.
Mhm. I mean, I'd have to agree with you there. As AI becomes more and more prominent, that definitely makes sense. I have one more question that I at least want to fit into this. Well, it's kind of off topic between that. But Jordan asked me to ask this, right? So between you guys, I'm sure you guys have heard of a couple of these issues happening, where big Roblox creators have been banned off Discord for false reasons. I don't know if you guys have seen posts about it on Twitter, Discord, all of that. Um, but people have been getting banned on accident, right? It's Discord's AI moderation, correct? At least from what we know. If your account was banned, like if everything you owned, so like Twitter, Roblox, Discord was all banned today, how would you go about rebuilding your lost work and whatnot, and anything that you've lost, like lost assets that you had in a server, commissions that you're talking about with someone, right? How would you go about getting all of that back? And I know that's a really far out question, but it's happened to a bunch of people, and it's definitely something that I feel like if you guys know anything about, could definitely be big help to these creators.
It's a little bit difficult to answer because it depends on where you are in your
Yes.
development career. Like we have
Yeah,
direct
that's
connections with Discord and Roblox, so if we ever have any issues like that, we just literally reach out and they'd get it fixed for us.
Mhm.
I would say try to build relations with companies like that. Like we have talked to Discord's team directly as well. Um, that I think is helpful if you ever run into problems. If
Mhm.
you don't have any connections, I mean, there's always the legal route, but that costs money, and I don't know if that's really enforceable. So it's quite difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very hard question to answer because I've never had that kind of issue
Mhm.
happen where we weren't able to get it fixed quickly.
Yeah, I know it's a very weird question, but it's happened to so many people recently that I just had to ask it.
Yeah, you got to read
Um,
the support team.
Well, I'd like to add a couple other things. I agree with Kismo. If you have direct relations, that's great. I mean, well, let's start with the primary, which is don't do anything stupid and shady. And I think that there are a lot of gray areas that people wade into. I remember one time we had someone who worked at GameFam get their Roblox account banned for like illicit trading, and this person, I still believe him to this day. He said that he just wanted to get the UGC item in his account to take a screenshot and flex for a minute, and then Roblox flagged it and banned him. And they didn't want to unban him. They said this is just too much of a gray area. And we looked at, does this guy, a bad actor? And we believed him in the end. But I think that, first and foremost, watch yourself. Okay. Don't, for whatever it's worth, I don't like to share. I mean, I don't really have spicy opinions in life. I'm actually a very live and let live kind of person. But if you have spicy opinions, don't share them online in writing, because there's just no good that will come of that. And certainly don't do it in a public forum, because that's even worse. But people are gonna do their thing. I like to focus on business. I like to focus on only positive sentiments as much as possible. So I'm not at risk for this personally, but I think that the back things up. Okay, like every document that matters to me does not live on Discord. Very little of my work life lives on Discord. The thing that I would be my contacts. And so what you can do for that is just take a screenshot every once a week of as many chats as you had there on the left side of your Discord, and put that in a folder on your drive, or just let that live in your Giazo. Giazo is great. If I lost access to my Giazo, that would actually be a big problem for me, because I keep so much just in my Giazo screenshots. I should probably back that up now that we're talking
yeah,
about it.
back that up.
Yeah, for real. So I think that like all my confirmations, I book an airline ticket, I just screenshot it in Giazo. Okay. So, things do live. I do have things that live on my Google Drive. If I lost Google Drive, I'd have a lot of problems, right? There's things I depend on not going down, because you're not going to get banned from Giazo or Google Drive. Um, but yeah, screenshot, right? Don't keep things just in Discord. You know, um, you can even build a Claude bot to go and read your Discord messages at the end of every day and create summaries of them. I did it. I
Oh
built that
wow.
Claude bot. I built that Claude bot. It uses Discord web, not Discord client. And
Mhm.
it would go and it would read all my messages every day and create a summary of action items for my messages. And then I realized that reading the summary of the action items took just as long as going back through all the messages, so I don't use it.
Might
But
need
those are some things
to.
you can do.
I might need to get Codex working on that. That sounds really useful. um,
Uh,
yeah, that's actually really cool. That's a really cool use. I think that might even just be
yeah.
useful for anybody, because I kind of just forget what I talk about every day, especially when I'm talking to so many people, or coordinating an event like this, talking to a lot of people, getting a lot of promotion out there. Um, there's another big question that I have for you guys, and it pertains to Roblox's moderation. A lot of people are very angry, and I will say for valid reasons, about Roblox's moderation. We've seen faults happen. I personally think Roblox moderation is the best moderation out there. And I know that sounds wild, but they have to go through so many things per day. You know, how many reports are there? How many games are released per day, right? So many. It's an inconceivable amount, right? And people keep in a way hating on the moderation because they use AI moderation, right? And people don't realize that it's impossible to just do it manually nowadays. There's so many people on the platform. There's so many things they have to look over, that they have to they have to use AI to their advantage, or they'll be left in the dust and their moderation will be worse. You know, we had the whole Schlepp situation and everything go on last year, and still to this day, Roblox is introducing more. I think it's COPPA, COPPA, ch- uh, child safety laws, and especially the UK, Australia, all of that. But a lot of people are mad because of how they're moderating games. I mean, even the game I helped work on, um, it got falsely banned. It got falsely banned. We got it appealed. Luckily, he was able to talk to Devrel as he's in TE plus, and he was able to get it resolved. And then the next day, well, not the next day, it was like 4 or 5 days after, the game got hacked, right? So, well, it was the account that got hacked. Everything got transferred over. And of course, we love Devrel. They're doing the best they can. They have a ton of stuff to work on, but it caused a lot of issues to the point that we have quit working on the game. So what's your opinion on all these setbacks that can happen reasonably from moderation?
I mean, us personally, we have noticed that the moderation has gotten better. We used to, like, I don't know, 2-ish years ago, around that time, we'd see a lot of like random assets we upload just get moderated and not go through due to their AI detection. But over time, it has gotten better. It's happened less and less. We have on random have had like developers get banned for a day, but then Devrel, fixed it and unbans them. But it hasn't happened in quite some time. I have heard of games getting moderated more frequently now, though, so I guess it's some issue with the detection they got to work on.
There's a game I advise on, Toons Universe, fantastic game. And it's gotten taken down out of nowhere twice. But the last time it got taken down, which was last week, they didn't even tell us why. We didn't even get a notification. Luckily, I have a chat with Devrel where I was able to escalate it. It was the second time it happened. The first time it stayed down for 9 days, but it bounced back. The second time it stayed down for 2 days and it bounced back. The good news, look, Roblox has taken child safety seriously, and I'm so happy about that. But if your game gets erroneously taken down, yeah, it's terrible. I mean, it's terrible. And this is just part of the business risk of being a Roblox developer right now. It is totally chaotic. And all you can do is try to escalate it to Devrel and see if you can get them to help you. But you got to file a ticket right away. And then you've got to try to follow up with somebody. I told some people, go on LinkedIn and try to message someone who works at Roblox directly on LinkedIn. That's my best advice. I can't get in touch with anyone. Well, at least you can find a real human on LinkedIn. So that's a tactic that I've been recommending. Roblox probably isn't happy that I'm recommending that, but that is what I'm recommending for people who need to try. Send them a message. What's the worst that happens? They ignore it.
Mm-hmm. And I know we're out of time here. I do have one final question to ask you guys that I wanted to at least get out. Do you guys have any one tip? I want to make it a max of one tip. I want it to be a super niche tip. Okay, bring in the guns. Bring in the big guns here. Okay, I want each of you guys to give one big tip to the people in here that can help them grow as a developer and grow as a developer that will be more mature and have a better ability to work with people. Because a lot of people, I'll be real with you. A lot of people in the developing space are immature, and I think that's one thing that everybody can work on is just being respectful to others and being a better person to work with. Do you guys each have one tip that you're able to share with people about that?
Sure. Regarding being respectful, or just in general, like a tip for development and owning a company?
In general, but I guess more something about working with other people and improving relations.
Yeah, I mean, it is important to be respectful and all that. I think it's important to be responsive and be there for people as well. And if you're managing a team, to not overwork your team. And like Kronos mentioned, give them ownership. Make them feel like they have a say in the content being put out in the game, what they're working on. Because people have ideas too, and they want to work on their ideas. So you should definitely listen to other people.
100%.
I think that the most important thing is to remember that, especially if you're on the younger side of this business, which almost everybody is try to enjoy the relationships and the friendships you're building working together. Hopefully, some or all of you will still be doing this 10 years from now and will create really admirable lives for yourselves and your future families doing this. And try to remember that, yeah, you're going to meet some bad people along the way. Just avoid those people. Just bow out of those relationships. And with the good ones, enjoy it. Make friends. Talk about things other than just Roblox when you can. Talk about if you're playing another game, if you're watching a movie. Try to enjoy the human aspect. This job is hard. It's a grind. This is 24/7. Okay. When I started on Roblox, I didn't know I was getting into the full like streamer lifestyle. There's a great article about the streaming business in the New Yorker from probably 5 or 6 years ago about like the 24/7 lifestyle of being a streamer and how it just destroys people. And Roblox dev, it ain't that different sometimes. It is 24/7 and it can bring out the worst in people and it can make people crazy. It can make people mentally unwell. It can burn people out. Try to find the people who you can rely on to be supportive, to be friendly, and try to be happy for other people when they succeed, knowing that if you keep trying, you will eventually achieve meaningful success in this business.
Awesome. And before we all leave, I know the World Cup starts in 25. The World Cup final starts in 25 minutes. So I want to say thank you all for coming. Big thanks to you, Joe. Super awesome advice. Same with you, Kizmo. Kronos, I know you also came up for a short time. It was really amazing to see you guys here. I'm glad we could get this event out and going strong. Thank you to the audience here. I hope you all learned some great things. We had some very interesting questions to ask. I wanted to make it different. I wanted to try and let's talk about things in development as best as I could, and hope that you guys had a great time. These events do take a while to plan out, so they are in a good way. They're annoying to put out. Okay, we love doing it. I want to say big thanks to Jordan. He funded all of this, so everybody, Jordan funded all of this. Thank you all. Joe, great talking to
Yeah,
you.
thank you. Thanks
Kizmo,
for having
great
us.
talking
You
to
did a
you.
great job. You did a great job moderating. You got a great career in podcasting ahead of you, sir. Nice work.
Yeah.
Thank you. Likewise. I mean, hey,
All
you're
right.
already doing it, so likewise. Thank you guys. I'm gonna end the stage here in a second. I'll put a poll in important for the World Cup for you guys. So good to see you guys.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Have a great day. Bye.
All right, thanks, guys.
Have a great day.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.